Lord. I can't get enough of it, y'all. Which means this is why I keep coming back. So I'm glad today, my God, that my thoughts are not his thoughts. I'm glad today that my ways are not his ways. My God, because I wish I had just one witness in here. Because had I done everything on my own, God, I probably would have dropped the ball a long time ago. But I'm glad today that I've lined up with him. I'm glad today that I've heard the voice of God. Anybody ever heard the voice before? I told you in the beginning of the message, it was almost like in grade school. In order for me to get outside, I had to hear the teacher's voice. And I've come to tell somebody in here, if you want to line up with him, you have to hear his voice. Look at your neighbor right now and say, neighbor, you got to hear his voice, because you don't never know what voice is speaking. I tell you, try Jesus. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Anybody want to line up with him? Because when you line up with him, there's something about your walk. It's something about your talk. When you line up with Jesus, there's something happening on the inside. There's something different about you. When you line up with God, you don't do the things that you used to do, because you start lining up with him. You don't go the places you used to go, because you start lining up with him. And you never second guess what God is telling you. Let me get on out of here, y'all. But I need to tell somebody what lining up with God really means. Because God is a different God. There's no one like God. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Won't he rock you? When you get weary, won't he hold you at the midnight hour? Well, let me tell you what lining up means. When you line up with God, he says, I'll do things different in your life. He says the things that you think that you have to destroy on your own, he says, when I do it my way, he says, lining up with God simply means that he'll give you a thought that's different from your thought.